Hi everyone. So we're going to look at frequency tables. This is one of the last things on the data unit for our class, which is nice. So they are actually something you've seen quite a lot of before, but perhaps not in the same format. Okay, so you might look at this and think, oh yeah, I can do this. Just bear with me, okay, because it might be slightly different to what you're expecting. So quite often I might ask you to find the mean of a set of numbers. Okay, or the range or something like that, and I'll give you a long list of numbers, and you all know what to do with that. Okay, now sometimes these long lists of numbers can be really long, and they can be a bit of a pain, really, to be quite honest. Okay, we don't have enough space. There's, we could have up to, we could have 200 numbers or something on there. This could be a big chunk of information. So we use frequency tables to make things a little bit easier. Okay, now I expect you're all quite happy with putting this information into a frequency table, but I'm going to go through it with you. The particularly new part of this lesson is actually going to be using the frequency table to calculate the mean and the range and so on. So first of all, we've got our number here. Okay, now this actually doesn't have any there's no scenario with this. Okay, so we've just got a list of numbers. It's not like in a moment we're going to do football score, number of goals scored in football games and so on. Okay, so the numbers we've got a choice of are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no 5s in there. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are options. Okay, is that all on the screen? There we go. Just make sure we can see it all. Okay, and this column here is going to be our frequency, and just to remind yourselves, frequency is how many times something happens. Okay, so how many times do we see the number 0? 0 is got once, twice. Okay, 2 times. Now if you've got lots and lots of data, that your list is a really long list, it might even be a good idea to put a tally column in here. Okay, because if you've got a lot of them, it might be easy to keep count as you're going, and then have a frequency after that to just add up what numbers you've got in here. Okay, but for these smaller lists, it's okay to go through and count. So the number 1 appears once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Okay, the number 2 appears 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and the number 3 appears 1, 2, 3 times, and the number 4 appears 1, 2, 3 times as well. Now we can check we've got that right by seeing how many numbers there are and what our total frequency is. Okay, so we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15, 16, 17 all together. Okay, so there should be 17 numbers here. We'll check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17. So we've not missed anything out. Okay, that's really important that you don't miss any out. Okay then, so now if I asked you to find the mean of this set of numbers, I hope you're all telling me that what you would do is to add them all up and divide by how many there are. So in this case, divide by 17. Okay, we'd add them all up first. Now we've got a bit of difficulty because if we didn't have that list of numbers and it looked a little bit like this, we only had the frequency table, how would we find the mean from this? It's the same data, but we're going to have to use it a little bit differently. Okay, so I mean, we could take the data out of the table and put it back in a long list. So we'd have, for example, 0 twice. We'd have 0, 0. We'd have 1 4 times. So 1, 1, 1, 1. We'd have 2 5 times. So 2, 2, and so on. Okay, we could do that, but it seems a little counterproductive. Okay, we've just put it into the table, and then we're taking it back out. Although it is in a lovely, nice, and neat and ordered list now. But there's a faster way. Okay, there's a faster way. What we can do is actually say, well, if we've got 0 2 times, we can calculate it all together, because all we do here, we'd add up the zeros together and we'd get 0. So we're going to do 0 times 2, okay, which is 0. Okay, 0 multiplied by 2, because we've got 0 2 times. We've got 1 4 times. Okay, 1 add 1 add 1 add 1 is the same as 1 multiplied by 4. So we get 1 multiplied by 4, which is 4. Okay, we've got 2 5 times. So if we added 2 together 5 times, we would get the same as doing 2 multiplied by 5. So 2 multiplied by 5 is 10. And that's what we'd get if we came down to our list here where we'd written out 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. We added all of those together, we would get 10. Okay, but this is much faster. Okay, we've got 3 times, so 3 multiplied by 3 is 9. And 4 3 times as well, so 4 multiplied by 3, which is 12. Okay, so I hope you're with me up to now. Now, we've got a bit more to do still. First of all, we need to know, as we did here, how many numbers we've got all together. Okay, and that can be found by adding our frequency. So I'm going to use different colours if you want to, folks, so some of these stand out a little bit. I'm going to have a total here. Okay, and the total frequency we can add up. We've already done it once, we know it's 17. Okay, and then we can add these numbers up here. Okay, and they're going to give us the total of the numbers all together. Okay, so we've got 22. Lost count from him then. So let's go from the bottom up. So 12, 21, 31, 35, add 0 is 35. Okay, and what that is, that number is what we would have got had we added all of these numbers together. Okay, but I hope you all agree with me that this is a lot more pleasant and a lot easier to do. Okay, so when we were finding the mean in our kind of our traditional way, or the way we used to do this, or the way we often do it when we've got a list of numbers, we get the total of all our numbers and we divide by how many there are. So here we've got the total of all of our numbers. We're going to divide by how many there are. So my calculation for the mean, I'm going to come down the page a little bit here. My calculation for the mean is going to be 35 divided by 17. Okay, which is going to be a very unpleasant decimal, I'm sure. Let me just get my calculator, which seems to have actually gone waterbout, so I've got my calculator gone. Okay, well my calculator's gone, so we're going to have to do this a really old-fashioned way. Let's go for it, why not, eh? So 35 divided by 17, we get 17 goes in twice, that gives us 34, so there's a remainder of 1. 17 doesn't go into 10. 17's into, I mean this is going to turn into some whole, we'll do one more of them. Okay, so we've got 17's into 100, which will be 5, yes, we'll have 5 of them, okay, with the remainder, that's going to go on, okay, but we're going to have 2.05 and some more numbers there, okay, so we're going to have rounded it. We would have done that anyway because that's going to go on for a really long time. So our mean is 2.05, which we could actually, I'll just box that off so it doesn't get confusing, we could actually round that to 2, okay, or 2.1 if we wanted to do it 1 decimal place. So to 1 decimal place, 2.1. And just look at your data, does it seem sensible? 2.1's here. Yeah, I mean we've got a few above it, we've got a few below it. Yeah, it seems a sensible place, okay, for that to be. Right, that's the first example. Now I've got 2 more of these to show you, which have got a little bit more context, okay, it's not just a list of numbers, so they'll be a bit nicer. I'm curious as to what's happened to my calculator. My son likes to pretend it's his mobile phone, so he's probably wandered off with it somewhere. Ah! Would you believe it? I'd actually put it away in the cupboard. That's very sensible of me. Right then, we can just check that last calculation actually, can't we? See how close we got. 35 divided by 17. Nice. Yep, 2.05 and some numbers. Right then, so a bit of context for this one. So a football team, plays 20 games and the coach records the number of goals they score in each game. Okay, and they're written down here. So one game they scored no goals, another game they scored 1 goal, 2 goals, another game they scored 4 goals, and so on. Okay. We're going to use a frequency table to find the mean, range and mode, okay, this time. So first of all, we've got to get this information, this data, into our frequency table, okay? So my first column is going to be goals scored, or number of goals. The number of goals. Okay, and that ranges. So number of goals, we've got a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. They didn't score 5 at any point, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we've got our frequency. Okay, so let's first of all see how many times they scored no goals. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times they scored no goals. Okay, 5 matches where they didn't score any goals at all. In how many matches did they score 1 goal? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There were 6 matches where they scored 1 goal. In how many matches they scored 2? 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 goals was 1, 2, 3, and 4 goals in 1, 2 matches. Okay, and let's just check that our, in fact, we might as well just go straight ahead and put the total in here, and then we can use that to check we've not missed any out. Okay, so the total, we've got 5, 10, 20 altogether. Okay, and actually quite nicely in this question, always look out for these when you're told. We're told that there's 20 games. Okay, so we don't even need to recheck those. We're told that there are 20 games, and we have actually got a total of 20 games. Okay, right then, so first things first, we can forget about that a little bit of information now, because this is exactly the same as this now. Okay, we've got the information in here. So the number of goals scored, we're going to be looking at the mean. Okay, and to find the mean, we need to find out how many goals were scored all together. Okay, so they actually scored no goals 5 times, so that doesn't do anything to our total because it stays at 0. Okay, there were 5 matches where they didn't score any goals. It doesn't actually affect our total. Now they did score 1 goal 6 times, so altogether that's 6 goals. Okay, there were 6 matches where they scored 1 goal, so we do 1 times 6 and we get 6, so that's 6 goals. Then we've got 2 goals. They happened 4 times. There were 4 matches where they scored 2 goals. So we do 2 multiplied by 4. So that's 8 goals altogether. And we're going to carry on doing this. Okay, so we get 3 multiplied by 3, which is 9 goals altogether there. And 4 multiplied by 2, which is 8 goals. Okay, and then we must total this up. Okay, because that's going to tell us how many goals they scored all together. Okay, we'll put a little plus sign there to remind us that's what we're doing. Okay, so we've got 16, that's the 8 add 8 is 16, 22, 32 take away the one to give it 9, 31 goals all together. Okay, that's 31 goals all together. So the mean is by total goals divided by what have we got here? Total matches. Okay, because we're looking for the mean, like the mean number of goals per match. Okay, so total goals by total matches is 31 divided by 20, which is, I've got my calculator ready now. Can we just about see that? I think 31 divided by 20. I really do think they need to invent a backlit calculator at some point because they're very hard to see sometimes. So that gives us 1.55. Okay, we might round that to 1 decimal place. 1.6. Now then, does it look reasonable? That's somewhere in here. I'm saying that's kind of the mean number. Now, of course, it's a lot higher up this list than, you know, it's not right in the middle, is it? But there's a lot more goals at that end, isn't there? There's not as many up here, so it seems reasonable. Okay. Always worth checking what answer you get to see if it makes sense. Okay, because if you'd somehow got the mean of 16, it couldn't be possible. There was no matches where they scored 16 goals. Okay, so just make sure your answer seems sensible. Right, I've got one more of these, and you can try some for yourselves. Now this time, as is going to be the case more often for you, the data is already in a frequency table. Okay, so we've got a class with 30 pupils in it, and the teacher is asking how many siblings they each got. And it's been recorded, this information has been recorded straight into a frequency table. Oh, we didn't find the mode and range off here, did we? Sorry folks, I can't believe I missed half of the question. Let's just come back to that one. That's very shoddy work. So that's the mean. Now the mode, as it always used to be, as it always has been, it's the most common, okay? And what we're looking for, and you've just got to be careful because a lot of people slip up on this, okay? We're looking for which number of goals was the most common. So what we're going to do is look down this list to see which is the biggest number, not including the total, of course, that's the total, but which is the biggest number, and it's 6, okay? But, don't write down 6, that isn't the mode. The mode is actually the 1, okay? That is the number of goals which appears the most times, okay? So the mode is 1 goal, okay? So just be really careful with that. It's very common for people to look down here, find the biggest number, and then write that as the mode, okay? It's not, it's the number next to it. Right then, so we've got the mode of 1 goal, and then we're going to find the range. Okay, so the range is the nice one, and it really doesn't change much from what you've always known the range to be. It's just the largest number of goals, subtract the smallest, okay? So we just get 4, subtract 0, which is 4. Now, it's funny, but the range actually doesn't really, the frequency doesn't really matter for the range. It doesn't really affect it, because when we've got this list here, all you would have done to find the range is find the biggest number in the list and the smallest number in the list. And that's the same here. So really we're only looking at the number of goals. The frequency doesn't affect the range. Okay. Right then, so that's that one finally completed properly. We'll go on to this one now. So we've got the class with 30 pupils and we're looking at how many siblings they've all got. So the information has gone straight into a frequency table this time, so you don't have to do that. It's already been done for you. Okay, so we're going to find the mean, range and mode. And in fact this time I'm going to just write mean, range and mode, so I don't forget to do one of them. Okay then, so first of all, the mean's the big one, that's the one that takes most of the work. So we're going to first of all find out our total frequency. Okay, 10, 20, 29, 30. And let's just check it against our question. We are told there are 30 pupils, okay, so we're all right so far. Okay, so we want to know how many siblings there are all together. That's what we're working on here, how many siblings there are all together. So one person didn't have any siblings, they were an only child. Okay, so that's 0 times 1, which is 0. Okay, no siblings there. 10 people had got 1 sibling. That's 1 multiplied by 10. So that's 10 siblings already. 10 people had 2 siblings. So 2 multiplied by 10, which is 20 siblings altogether. 6 people had 3 siblings. So that's 3 multiplied by 6, which is 18. And 3 people had got 4 siblings. Okay, so that's 4 multiplied by 3, which is 12. And then we just need to find out the total number of siblings altogether, okay? So if there was a, everybody's siblings all got together, how many would there be? So 10 add 20 is 30, 48, 50, 60. That's a lot, isn't it? 60 siblings there, okay? So now we've got that information, our mean is calculated by doing total siblings divided by number of students, okay? And if you follow this kind of pattern, it will usually be this one divided by this one, okay? But I'm using this writing in this expression here just to make sure you know what's going on in each of these columns, okay? Because we often use the word frequency, but it hasn't really related back to the question, okay? Because frequency is actually perhaps or frequency of students, perhaps we could have said, the frequency of the students, if you want to put that extra word in there just to clarify. So we've got 60 divided by 30, which is 2. That's a nice round number this time. They're saying that actually our mean is exactly 2 siblings each, okay? And yeah, that's right in the middle, isn't it? That's quite a nice one right there. Okay then, so range. the most number of siblings, subtract the least number of siblings. So we've just got 4, subtract 0, same as last time actually, which is 4. And the mode, now this is an interesting one this time, the mode. We're looking down here for the biggest number, not including the total. And actually, yeah, 2 of them, isn't there? Okay, so the mode is actually 1 and 2. Okay. And if you remember, on page 1 and 2, we call that bimodal. Okay, it's got 2 modes. So 1 and 2 siblings are the mode. Okay. Okay. Where's that gone? There we go. All right then. So that's the 3 examples for you now. I'm going to send you some of these to practice on yourselves now. Good luck.